Good evening and a very warm welcome to this evening's webinar. My name is Lara Zimmerman and I am your host for this evening. It's just gone 8:30. I'm going to give it another minute before I kick off, but I do promise to be about 20-25 minutes this evening. I appreciate it is a Sunday evening and you have taken time out from your friends and family to join us this evening. If this is your first time on a Zoom call, you'll be glad to hear that you don't need to participate in any way, shape, or form. You can just sit back and listen to the information being delivered. However, if you do have any questions, make a note of them, and then at the very end, I will stop the recording because this is being recorded, and I will happily answer Q&As, and there's a chat box that you can throw your questions in. So it's gone 8:31. I'm going to start. Again, introducing myself, I'm Lara Zimmerman, originally from Ireland, but I now live in southwest London with my husband and my 3 young children. My background was in traditional business up until 8 years ago. I had a recruitment company in Ireland, and then I had a yoga business, which I had for 8 years. And the last 7 years, I have been working in and around nutrition and also been involved in network marketing. Now, this evening, we're going to be talking to you about a couple of amazing products. Somebody's obviously picked up the phone, called you in probably an excitable manner, wanting to tell you a little bit about a couple of products that launched in the UK. And what I want to do is I want to kind of dive into a little bit of information on, first of all, why we age. And I think a lot of us, when we think of aging, we think of wrinkles, we think of our skin, because I suppose that's the way we can see aging. But actually, aging is more than just skin deep. It's we start to have more aches and pains. Our quality of sleep might diminish somewhat. Often we get tireder easily, and we get brain fog. You know that feeling, you go up to your bedroom to get something and you think, what did I come up here for? And that's all signs of aging. And there's a couple of reasons why we age, and I'm going to delve into 2 of those reasons tonight. One is something called oxidative stress. Now, oxidative stress is the damage that's done to our cells by free radicals. And when we are young, when we are very little, when we're born, from the second we start breathing and eating and converting energy into our cells, then the cells have little kind of combusting things that go on. And these are free radicals, and they go ping-ponging their way around our body. When we're little, our body has an amazing coping mechanism. It produces what we call anti-aging or antioxidant producing enzymes. And it produces enough of these enzymes that it neutralizes these free radicals, so our cells don't come under any sort of attack. But from about the age of 20 onwards, our body doesn't produce as much of these enzymes, and what happens is our cells start to very slowly, very progressively start to deteriorate. The health of those cells deteriorate, and there are now a couple of hundred thousand studies. In fact, I'm going to take you to a website and show you it in a moment, where they say oxidative stress is directly linked with over 220 illnesses. And you can see there that it's linked with pretty much everything we all suffer from in modern history, in the modern world. You know, heart disease, skin conditions, kidney, joint, lung, immune. I mean, how many people are getting autoimmune conditions? This was something that you didn't see or hear 100 years ago. Cognitive and neurological conditions in the brain, our blood vessels, diabetes, chronic fatigue, and a whole host of conditions. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to actually just, hope this works, take you to a website called pubmed.gov. So if there's anybody on the line who particularly enjoys a bit of research, you can go to this website later. It's pubmed.gov. It's also the US National Library of Medicine, and then where the National Institute of Health post all of their studies. And if we just stick in oxidative stress, you can see that there are over 176,000 studies into the area of oxidative stress. And whenever I talk about oxidative stress, I sort of say, like, I don't know about you guys, but I remember growing up in South Dublin when I was little, my mum and her friends, you know, people started talking about cholesterol. It became this buzzword, and now everybody knows what cholesterol is. It's not something you can feel or you can see, but it's something that comes up in a blood test. And obviously now they've got pills to kind of stop you from getting cholesterol or reducing the effects of it. Well, oxidative stress is similar in that I believe it's going to be the buzzword of the next century. Over 176,000 conditions are associated with it. And if we just put in a couple of things, take cancer, for example, 100 years ago, 1 in 30 of us were getting cancer. Now it's 1 in 3 of us. And this is all down to lifestyle and the change of how we live. You can see here now there's close to 20,000 studies that are done into the correlation of oxidative stress and cancer. Take another modern disease, diabetes. Historically, we only really heard of people having type 1 diabetes, but now type 2, which is lifestyle driven, is so much more prevalent. Again, over 15,000, nearly 16,000 studies there into diabetes and oxidative stress. Give you a couple of more: cardiovascular disease. I mean, again, over 27,000 studies done into this. And in fact, one of the independent peer review published studies we have on our products, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, actually delve into atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of the arteries and the effects oxidative stress has on that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in inflammation. And if you actually look at all causes of all illnesses, it is inflammation. And again, there's over 25,000 studies done into that. So you can see that oxidative stress, it's fairly proven that is why we get ill. That is why we get diseases. Sorry, Protandim, I just want to put in Protandim. Again, we're not going to go into these studies right now, but you can see that there's one of 23 independent peer review published studies done into our flagship product, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment. And to get something peer review and published is no easy accomplishment. Typically, the study will be done by an academic, a researcher, a scientist, and when he's written his paper, it gets sent out to anywhere between 4 to 6 other scientists in that same field of study, and they will read it and they'll validate the findings. So to get something peer reviewed and published, about 1 in 6 studies do. So we're so incredibly lucky that we have 23 studies done into that. So this is just a really good example of a cell that's normal. This would be with a newborn child. You can see that it's suddenly under attack by these unstable molecules called free radicals. And this is what a cell would look like when oxidative stress has set in. And you can see that a cell that is distorted is not going to function as well as a cell that's normal. It's going to cause inflammation. It's going to create blockages. It's going to cause a whole host of things. Now, the other reason we age is called mitochondrial dysfunction. Now, each of our cells has up to 4,000 mitochondria. They are the complete energy powerhouse of our bodies. In fact, 95% of our energy comes from your mitochondria, which is pretty amazing. Take a cell around your heart, which is working really hard because it's pumping 24/7. It's going to have a lot of activity in the mitochondria. A cell that's in your earlobe or the end of your nose, which twitches from time to time, isn't going to necessarily have the same level of mitochondria. But mitochondria depletes through the aging process, and also it gets incredibly badly damaged by oxidative stress. And you can see again a whole host of conditions that are now associated with mitochondrial dysfunction. And don't do it now, do it when I finish talking. But if you go to Google and you search on Google, you'll see that mitochondrial dysfunction is associated with a whole host of really, really chronic conditions. So what's the solution? Well, as I always say to people, you could go live in an organic farm in the west of Ireland where you've got lovely clean air coming in from the Atlantic, but realistically you could try and eat cleaner, you could rest more, you could reduce your stress levels, you could eat really healthily, but just by breathing and eating, we are all being exposed to oxidative stress. So that's what I want to talk to you about, the products that we have, and they're called Protandim, NRF1 and NRF2, and they're based around the science of nutrigenomics. Genomics mean the study of genes and nutrition, how we can use nutrition to positively influence our gene expression or get our body to do what it should do, which is really, really powerful. And when I explain nutrition, or nutrigenomics, I always sort of say it's a bit like the third generation in nutrition. So what do I mean by that? Well, first generation nutrition is when we worked out years ago not to have scurvy, it was have a balanced diet. simple. Second generation nutrition will be supplementation. We're all familiar with supplementation. We supplement because we're deficient in things, like people who are iron deficient or vitamin D deficient, we supplement. We also supplement because our food doesn't carry the same nutritional value that it did 100 years ago. Take an apple today, because of over farming, use of pesticides, fungicides, everything. That's another argument altogether, but we know it doesn't have the same nutritional value. So people take supplements, whereas nutrition or nutrigenomics is taking something that triggers your body to produce what its own natural system. So I'm going to dive into these products, and I'm such a geek when it comes to these products because I get so excited. I heard about this product in October 15, so nearly 2 years ago, and I heard that there's a product that lowers, that's clinically proven. At that point in time, it was in 17 independent studies, but now it's 23. There's a product that's clinically proven to lower your oxidative stress by a minimum of 40% in 30 days. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. I've trained in nutrition, so my immediate reaction is this an antioxidant? And it's not an antioxidant, okay? What it is it's an NRF2 activator. It creates a pathway to every single cell in your body, and it switches on your own body's production of some key enzymes. I'll mention them. It won't mean anything to most of you, but it's something called superoxide dismutate. It'll increase by 34%, catalase by 56%, and glutathione between 300 and 900%. And glutathione is the mother of all enzymes. It's what calms the mind. It's what helps us sleep better. It's what repairs our muscles post-exercise. It has so many health benefits. But when people say, well, what is the difference between this and an antioxidant? I'll say, well, look, here, how antioxidants work, the ones that we get from nutrition, is they work on a one-to-one molecule basis. So one molecule of an antioxidant will neutralize one free radical. So take a bowl of blueberries, a sort of 3-ounce bowl of blueberries. It's going to neutralize around about 7,000 free radicals. Your body is producing a couple of trillion free radicals per day. However, take one molecule of SOD, or superoxide dismutate, it will neutralize 1 million free radicals per second, all day, every day, for up to 14 days. And it's going to increase your SOD production by around about 34%. So I say, look, taking an antioxidant is a bit like throwing a glass of water on a burning house. Taking Protandim, which turns on your own body's natural antioxidant producing enzymes, your own body's anti-aging system, it's like having a fire hose in the room of every single of a burning house. So incredibly powerful. Now, what's in it? Well, it's all natural. This is another thing I loved about this product and got me so excited. Turmeric, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. Milk thistle, which cleanses the liver. Bacopa, it's a white flower used in Ayurvedic medicine. Black pepper, which synergizes, it helps all these ingredients work together. And green tea, which is a whole host of health benefits, naturally anti-cancerous, antioxidant, metabolism boosting, being one of a few of them. So it's this specific blend that creates this effect. And this has been studied lots by the company, but time and time again, and in every single study, it's come back as this will lower oxidative stress in your body, which is pretty exciting. So it'll restore the healthy cells. Now, the second product that we have is called an NRF1. So you can tell we have two pathways. And what this does is it activates a pathway right into the mitochondria and boosts production. Again, what's in it? It's all natural stuff. Rhodiola rosea root extract, coenzyme Q10, which if you have any cardiovascular illness, this is something that you definitely want to be taking. Something called alpha lipoic acid, grape extract, and quercetin. So what does it do? Well, it increases your ATP levels, and your ATP levels is basically what creates the cellular energy in your body, and it makes your body work more effectively. So it repairs and restores and creates new mitochondria. It just helps your body work more effectively. And you know, when your body is working harder and harder to repair itself, to produce new blood, to get your brain working, it it is what makes us tired. And this also, taken with NRF2, increases the overall protection from antioxidant enzymes. So we definitely recommend you take this product with NRF2. And people often ask us, well, what is kind of the difference? And I think this is a really good analogy here. If you were to think your body was a car, in fact, actually think about your body as a car. If you're a car owner, you take your car to be serviced every year, you look after it because it costs you money, and yet we all live in this one vehicle. We've got it from birth to whenever the end date is. None of us know that. And I always say to people, look, you've got a choice. Do you want to let yourself start chugging in your 40s and chug through your 50s, 60s, and then start kind of grinding to halt in your 70s or 80s? Or do you want to stay in fifth gear and cruise through it? But going back to this analogy, Protandim NRF2 is like getting your car and cleaning it from head to toe, getting rid of all the rust, all the corrosion, everything from the inside out, cleaning the whole engine. And then taking NRF1 is like turbocharging your engine. So it's like giving it the most amazing service, so it runs on peak performance. And that is what NRF1 and NRF2 are all about. I always say to people, look, prevention is harder to preach than cure, but we all want to slow down the aging process of our body. We all want to, who does not want to sleep better, have more energy, have less aches and pains, and, have more mental clarity? And it's really interesting because I've been on NRF2 since October 15, and I had a whole host of improvements. Some were very early on. I noticed within a few weeks I was sleeping incredibly well. I actually had to start setting an alarm for the first time in about 15 years because I never needed to set an alarm. I have a couple of health challenges that it really, really helped with, but my energy levels improved massively. And then I started taking NRF1 this February, and my energy levels are at an all-time high. So it's something I definitely encourage you to take. Now, how can you get your hands on it? Well, you can get back in touch with the person that introduced you. I recommend everybody get started on the Duo Pack. Why? Well, two reasons. It's more cost effective than buying the two products separately. If you go for NRF2, it's going to be $43.50 delivered, and £60.60 delivered. So a lot more. If you go for the two together, $97.50. But aside from the cost, it's the fact that you're actually giving your body the best chance to slow down the aging process of your body and feel a whole lot better. Also, what I want to mention very briefly is we do have a skincare range. Now, I'm not a skincare expert by any matter of means, but I have quite a few friends who are. I've used the products since we launched in the UK in March 16, and my skin is so much better. I've less blemishes. You can tell the sort of structure of it's a lot plumper. But I have had friends who are experts in skincare read it, and they're amazed that they've been able to harness this NRF2 technology but work from the outside in. So again, I always say to people, look, get back in touch with whoever invited you on here this evening, because here's a before and after photo. Obviously somebody with some visible blemishes. Within 30 days, obviously her skin's looking a lot clearer. She's quite young, but we also have some great before and after photos of people who are a little bit older, who are seeing a lot of dark lines under the eyes, seeing just a real lift around the mouth, around the forehead. And the products consist of 3 products. There's a perfecting lotion, which is like a toner, an eye serum, which is fantastic just to be used around the skin around your eyes, which is more delicate, and then an anti-aging cream, which is both a day and a night cream, and that is $135 delivered to your door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording now in a second. So if anybody has any questions, they can pop them in the chat box. But what I would say to you is get back to the person who invited you. If you have any questions whatsoever, they can help answer those. I'm going to answer some now, and we'd obviously love to get you on the product and see how you get on. And for anybody who can get excited about these products and you're interested in sharing them with others, then we can tell you a little bit more about how you can become a distributor with us here at LifeVantage. So let me just stop the recording.